I shall now make a statement in my incapacity as a representative of Ghana. Excellencies, at the outset, I would like to thank the High Commissioner for Refugees, Mr. Filippo Grandi, for his insightful and compelling briefing, which provides a clear but sobering picture of the global refugee situation. I also thank you, High Commissioner, for your very kind words for my country and its continued contribution as a host country for refugees, particularly from the region and beyond. The common determination to evolve the global architecture for addressing the world refugee situation makes the role of the UNHCR, the UN's refugee agency, critical for saving lives, protecting rights, and building a better future for refugees, forcefully displaced communities, and stateless persons. While acknowledging the important measures in place at the national and regional levels in addressing the global refugee situation, we remain concerned about the continuous rise in the global refugee numbers. As of May 2022, 100 million individuals were forcibly displaced worldwide. This accounts for an increase of 10.7 million people displaced from the end of the previous year. The war in Ukraine has been a major driver, but in many parts of the continent of Africa, the situation remains dire, with more than 26%, which is over 80 million, of the world's refugees hosted in the region. Your recent visit to the Horn of Africa, High Commissioner, revealed the seriousness of the situation. In Somalia, for instance, the number of people displaced internally, primarily by drought this year alone, is nearing 1 million, with another 500,000 displaced due to conflict and insecurity. It is therefore critical for the international community, including this Council, to unite and spare no effort in assisting concerned countries to break the cycle of conflict and climate crisis. Colleagues, Ghana would like to make a few points which we believe should underpin global efforts in addressing the global refugee crisis, especially in the context of Africa. First, we believe that the instruments in place at the international level, including the 1951 UN Convention relating to the status of refugees and its 1967 protocol, remain the most viable and sustainable way of addressing the situation of refugees. We encourage member states to make good their commitment to implementing them, including the Global Compact for Refugees, which was adopted in 2018. Secondly, the increasing rate of refugees in Africa requires deeper cooperation between the UN and regional arrangements to effectively deal with the situation. In this regard, we welcome stronger cooperation between the United Nations and continental initiatives such as the AU Convention for the Protection and Assistance of Internally Displaced Persons in Africa, which came into force in 2012. The focus of the 2019 AU Team on Year of Refugees, Returnees, and Internally Displaced Persons towards durable solutions to forced displacement in Africa demonstrates Africa's commitment at the highest level in addressing the menace, including in relation to the regrettable situation we see daily on the Mediterranean seas. Thirdly, critical attention needs to be given to addressing the drivers of instability, which is an aggravating factor for the refugee situation. The heightened insecurity in most parts of the continent, resulting from increasing incidents of terrorist attacks, climate change, and the pandemic, among others, is worsening the displacement of huge populations and require urgent attention. We therefore welcome ongoing efforts to address the conflicts and political situation on the continent and urge sustained action. Fourthly, other aggravating factors, including the COVID-19 pandemic and climate change, is of utmost concern, especially because over 70% of refugees come from highly climate vulnerable countries, while 80% of displaced persons by conflict live in highly climate vulnerable countries. The insecurity from climate change, especially on the continent of Africa, requires stronger commitment by the international community, including through harnessing the available instruments such as the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change and the African Union Climate Change and Resilient Development Strategy and Action Plan. This approach would help weaken the ecological threat to the continent of Africa, as well as its impact on social and political instability. We welcome the enhancement of this Council's collaborative arrangements with the relevant UN system entities doing commendable work through peace-building interventions aimed at addressing climate-related security threats. Lastly, it is important for humanitarian funding to be increased, as has been indicated here by the High Commissioner and a number of delegations, to help meet the increasing humanitarian needs resulting from the rise in internal displacements and refugees globally. It is important for all of us to take advantage of the upcoming Global Refugee Forum in 2023 to make a difference by exhibiting unbridled political will in a manner that ensures that real and timely support is provided to stakeholders, including host authorities, to adequately address the refugee situation. In concluding, Ghana believes that effective implementation of the Global Compact for Refugees is germane to tackling the refugee situation, and we encourage member states to make good their commitment to its implementation. I thank you, and I shall now resume my function as President of the Council.